Claire Montgomery is 53 years old, and she lives alone in Texas. She has an old truck, a vegetable garden, and 2 dogs that don't ask questions. To her extended family, she is the quiet cousin who did a desk job in the Army years ago and never quite came back the same. She lets them believe that because it's easier than explaining the reality. That arrangement worked until Aunt Donna's 75th birthday. The Texas heat was thick by noon, the air full of brisket smoke and country music, with kids running through a backyard crowded with people who had known Claire since she was in pigtails. Then there was her cousin Rick. He sells RVs outside Dallas, talks louder than anyone else, and treats every conversation like a performance where he has to be the star. Rick was halfway through a case of beer when Claire showed up. He bellowed a greeting across the yard, mocking her for finally crawling out of her cave in front of the entire family. Claire didn't snap back. She just smiled, hugged her aunt, and started carrying food trays out to the tables, staying quiet as she always did. That lack of friction only encouraged Rick. He saw her silence as an invitation to keep pushing, assuming there was nothing beneath the surface to push back against. By late afternoon, Rick cornered her by the patio cooler. He made sure he had an audience before turning the conversation back to her time in the service. He asked, loud enough for everyone to hear, if she ever did anything dangerous or if she just filed papers and drank coffee. He grinned, asking if her unit called her princess. Claire stopped. She looked at her scarred hands for a moment, then looked Rick dead in the eye, deciding the secret wasn't worth protecting him anymore. She said a single word: Hades. A champagne glass shattered on the patio. Walter Briggs, a retired Navy SEAL and a friend of the family, dropped his drink like he'd seen a ghost. Walter straightened his shoulders and gave Claire a formal salute right there in the yard. Rick's smirk stayed frozen on his face, his brain unable to reconcile the quiet cousin with the reaction of a veteran like Walter. That one word ended the performance. The power dynamic in the backyard shifted instantly, stripping away 20 years of Claire's carefully maintained civilian disguise. In reality, Claire Montgomery's military career was spent in special operations support. She wasn't at a desk, she was in the pilot seat. She flew night runs over Kandahar, navigating the most unforgiving terrain in the world. This diagram shows a black zone extraction. Standard medevac units abort when a zone gets too hot, but Claire bypassed safety markers to breach the center. While others bugged out, pinned down operators converged on her. She was their only way home. They called her Hades because she flew into the kind of fire that felt like the underworld, and she was the only one who consistently came back out. It ended in 2004. A mission went sideways, her aircraft went down, and the official reports eventually listed the pilot as dead. Claire didn't correct the record. She used the error to disappear into civilian life. She spent the next 2 decades in silence, trading her medals and her history for the quiet of a garden in Temple, carrying the memories of those missions so the men she saved wouldn't have to. Back at the barbecue, Walter took over the narrative. He sat across from Claire, treating her with a level of reverence the rest of the family had never seen. When Rick tried to call her Rambo, Walter shut him down instantly. He told the family that Rambo was a movie, but what Claire did in the black zones was real. Walter began listing the units, Rangers, SEALs, and Marines, who owed their survival to the pilot they knew only as Hades. He filled in the names of the operations and the cost Claire had paid to get them out. Rick stood there with his beer, his mouth open. The backyard was completely silent. Even the kids had stopped running to listen to the story of the woman they thought was just the weird cousin. Later that evening, Rick found Claire by the fence. He didn't have a beer this time, and he didn't have an audience. He apologized for the years of jokes and the things he'd said. Claire told him to just be better, and to think twice before assuming he knew what a person was just because they were quiet. She drove home under the Texas sky with the radio low. Saying that name out loud hadn't reopened the wound. It had finally allowed it to heal. Claire went back to her house, her truck, and her dogs. Her past hadn't changed, but as she pulled into her driveway, she knew that for the first time, her family finally understood the weight of the silence she kept.